Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today is a new day and quarantine day 5,600 and something. You're actually coming up on our 6 month of being married. So we wanted to just do a little check-in with you guys, let you know how marriage life has been, how we've been doing, I guess, with being newly married, even though we had already been together for about 3 years before we had gotten married. But just kind of shedding some light on what's been going on with us and what we have coming up. In this video, we want to talk with you guys about what we've learned in the past 6 months of being married. So the first one definitely is communication. That is a day in, every day is a new day to learn something
that's
new.
every minute on the minute.
Yes. Because, one day you think you got it, and the next day you like, well, wait a minute, no, we are just totally off on the same page, different book, whatever it may be. So that is something that we are still continuing to work on. It's just communication. I know we think we know what the other partner may want, but then that day that may not be the case. So it's just, we assume a lot of each other sometimes. So just making sure we are really communicating, letting each other know what's on our minds, what we want to do, what we don't want to do. All that jazz.
Example this morning about the eating thing.
Oh
so it was just communication. So Brielle was waiting on me to eat lunch, and I didn't know she was waiting, so I went and warmed up my leftovers from last night, and I had a full meal. She's like, well, I'm gonna eat, so she's like, I was waiting on you. I'm like, well, I didn't know you was waiting, because she was up before I was, so I didn't know she ate or had eaten. So I just, I had my mind, I'm gonna eat my leftovers. She was like, were we eating together?
Well, my point to that was usually on Sundays, after we both have gotten up, we usually haven't really eaten. I may have snacked on something, but I'm usually kind of trying to hold out till at least lunchtime to decide what we want to eat, because sometimes we do have leftovers from the night before, sometimes we don't, or he may have it or I may have it and the other person doesn't. So I know he had told me before, he was like, well, you always eat what you want to eat on whatever day. That had been a conversation that we had before, so that's why I was like, okay, let me start asking, which I think I did last week. I think I had leftovers, he didn't. So I was like, hey babe, what do you want to eat? He's like, I think I'm gonna cook breakfast. So I was like, okay, is it all right if I eat my leftovers? So I think today I was still thinking we're both still in that mindset.
I wasn't at all.
So I did that because he had checked me on it a while ago. So that's why I was like, well, I thought we were gonna wait and see. So then I was like, well, I guess I can go find some leftovers in the fridge or find me something to eat. So but that's just one example of how we still have to work on communication, because a month ago we would have had the conversation. It's completely different the next month or whatever it may be. So next up is balance. So being newly married, you kind of want to spend as much time as you can with that person sometimes.
Not new. Right now it's like, hey, I just send you enough every day.
Especially, but before, when we were actually going to work every day, we wanted to, or at least I try to make sure that, I have a good work-life balance. I feel like my job helps me with that a lot. Everybody pretty much at my job has family, so everybody's very family oriented. They don't let work consume them to the point where it's affecting their family. So that is one thing I definitely try to do personally, is just making sure that, as soon as I hit that door, whatever, you try to, you want to either discuss it with your spouse, if you had a bad day, if you had a really good day, but you definitely want to check your emotions, and of course it's okay to talk about your day, oh my gosh, I had a crappy day, oh my gosh, I had the best day ever, but you definitely want to make sure you don't get too consumed with talking about work, especially once you come home. Home is supposed to be that happy, safe space, but then it's just more so about talking about each other, goals we have for each other personally and all that.
I agree with what you said. Especially, I think the hardest part, the second part to that, is not only the work, like our 9-to-5 jobs, but then trying to do YouTube videos too. That's it's almost another job in itself. So I know I can become very consumed with things when, my content, if I'm buying something new, Brielle knows. So not always just talking about, okay, work, but then YouTube work, and video ideas, okay, what about, I think it's later, another point about it later, but I ain't gonna get to that conversation. But just balance of when to cut work off and YouTube off, and hey, here we are, somewhere in the middle. But
talk about our relationship,
right.
Stuff that we want to do with each other, and just continuing to grow because you're going to change as a couple and as an individual throughout marriage and stuff. So it's just making sure that you still are balancing all of those, which can be a lot, especially once we have kids thrown into that mix too. Is that can be hard, trying to balance a marriage, a job, kids.
Even family stuff. Remember, beginning of the year, we were super busy. January, February, before everything started happening with birthdays, and so we was constantly moving.
Yeah.
So we never had that time. I ain't gonna say didn't have the time, but it was hard to find the time just to where it was just like us.
Yeah.
I guess us hanging out. So yeah, you gotta kind of find that balance between work, family, friends, and if you got kids, God bless you.
Yeah. Especially nowadays with everything going on.
Imagine, boy.
I think I told Quincy the other day, I was like, I think this is the most people have spent with their kids in I don't know how long. Usually summer
how
is
y'all doing?
I know, right? Usually summer is when you kind of get that taste and you're like, oh, thank God August is here, time to sit in the bed. But now it's like, nope, you got them 24/7.
So we gonna pray for y'all. If you got kids. Another thing we learned is, for most newly married couples, I think the main thing we stop doing when you get married is you stop dating each other. You stop making those guys you already know what I'm talking about. You used to do those little sentimental things. Why you used to leave notes on your car.
That's all right. I ain't got notes. I take that back. I think he gave me, it was my birthday, which that was a funny story because I thought I lost the note. He didn't tell me that there was one, and he didn't ask me within 5 minutes of me leaving. Yeah,
I put it on the front windshield for a birthday. She drove all the way to work with it. She never said I'm thinking the reaction oh, thank you. I'm like, did you get the note? And she's like, what? No. I'm like, it was on your windshield, so it didn't fly off.
Technically, it wasn't on the windshield. It was deep down.
It fell down, I guess.
No, it didn't fall. He stuck it there.
I put it on the windshield, and the windshield wipers. So soon you got in, you should have seen that white piece of paper.
No, yeah. So my car, there's a tinted area. Yeah. So it wasn't in the glass area where it was see through. It was in the dark part. So that's why I was like, I don't know what car's for me. I'm feeling terrible. I had literally gotten into work and everything. And that's when he asked me about it, and I was running back downstairs to the garage to go see.
I think it was like a $50 car or $20, $50.
It was a Sequoia car, yeah.
So somebody got blessed.
Me, I was worried about the car, and I'm like, dang, he wrote me a whole car, and I done lost the car somewhere around 75. So,
but anyway, so keep dating. I mean, like I said, so those small sentimental ideas that you used to do for, try to keep doing that. Like I said, me and Bria do date night. Try to do it every Tuesday. Yeah. Just to keep that same young, fresh, fun energy you had when you was trying to woo her over back in the day, or she woo me over, however you want to put it.
It doesn't have to be where we go out, because we don't go out every Tuesday.
No, we don't.
Because we know, especially when we were busy, we were like, no, we can't really go out to eat during the week because we have stuff going on during the weekend. Just making sure we're balancing going out and all of that.
Budget perspective.
Whether it be we find a new show on Netflix, or sometimes we literally just sat on the couch and just talked.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's when we probably had some of the best conversations. Honestly, we were just sitting. We didn't have much plan. We just knew it was date night. We didn't know where it was going to end up, but we knew we could just sit here and talk.
Yeah.
So
we used to indoor pack, we make the.
We do a little palette here.
Palette and do things like that. Fun. So that's fine. But just keep dating. Yeah, that's the main thing. And I got that advice was given to me about 2 or 3 of my friends who are married, guys actually, who said the main thing that you need to do is make sure you keep dating each other. So dating is a big one. Keep doing it, guys and gals.
Yes, definitely. And we do try to rotate planning a little bit and stuff. So I know, and usually it comes from conversation. We would go to the movies. So hey, I know you mentioned you want to go see this movie. Mm-hmm. It's $5 Tuesdays at AMC. Right. And then I got this deal to go out to eat or something. So we just make it a date night. We get dinner and a movie, and don't break the piggy bank, and that's it. So get creative with it too. It doesn't always have to be the same thing.
Right.
That leads us into the next one, which is checking in with each other. So this is something that I felt like, especially when we were apart, when we weren't living together, we would just kind of check in with each other maybe every 6 months or so. And we say checking in, just see how the other person is doing, not necessarily the relationship, which we would get into our relationship, but it would just be like, hey babe, how are you doing? Mm-hmm. How are you doing as a person? Mm-hmm. And some days we would have, I'm good, I'm fine and stuff. And other days it'd be like, oh my gosh, I've had this many things going through my mind, let's see if we can talk it out. Yeah. And I think it's good because it always allows us to leave that open line of communication where nothing is, too much for the person to handle. And there may be times you may not have an answer for that person, but just listening in, just sitting there and being a listening ear. I think it's good, but just making sure you're still checking on that person as an individual and not as a couple. Because, once you get married,
wife and husband.
You get stamped and you're like, no, it's Quincy and Brielle. It's not, hey, how's Quincy? Hey, how's Brielle? No, how's Quincy and Brielle? So I think that's something, just kind of keeping that open line of communication, like I said, but just checking on each other as individuals too. Yeah,
so. And I think it's just elaborate. It just allows you. Well, you kind of already said it. It just allows you to. You may think you know what that person is, or you may think you know everything going on, but you may not. It might just be something, maybe once everything's kind of off and quiet and the person has the floor to talk, they might share something you didn't know. So you may think you know that person are in their season or whatever it may be, but they may have something, like I said, separate outside the marriage that they're going through. So yeah, just good conversation, good. I don't know what word I'm looking for. A tool? I don't know if it's a tool. Marriage tool.
I mean, I think so, because I think it's good to do check-ins. They don't have to be like weekly or daily or anything, but we just be randomly sitting here and be like, so how are you doing? Because you can tell when your partner, they have either a lot on their mind or they're going through a lot, and sometimes you can't, because there's been times like, oh my gosh, I just had a whole breakdown because like I couldn't tell, I know. So and him, he's always got a million thoughts going through his mind. He's always thinking future. Me, I'm a little bit, but not all the way as much as him, and that's not a bad thing. It's just he is always like forward thinking. So sometimes he's gotten so much going on in his brain that I don't even see it. So that's his chance to even tell me like, oh, I've been thinking about.
I didn't have that whole 3 year
plan. Exactly. Like, what? I'm like, wait, I'm just talking about this week. I'm just trying to make it to Friday. So I think it's good just to check in on each other, and even check in on a relationship too. Like, he'll ask me, how am I doing as a husband? You know, and vice versa. So that's when we can say, I didn't like that you have pussy. That's been irking me. Or I just loved how you gave me a hug when we were out somewhere or something. So it's either it could show that person some love or just tell them like, hey, this really has been bothering me. But I really didn't want to just bring it up because that could lead to an argument, wrong time. So definitely good to have that open dialogue for sure. Next up we have is being away from each other is a good thing. Especially being in a 1-bedroom apartment. One of us is always here. So Quincy will work from home a few times when now we're both at home. So we're really trying to figure out when, that time apart away. But I think it's good because it allows him to hang out with his friends, decompress. He gotta listen to me in my mouth, they're nagging or whatever it may be, and then he just gets some guy time because we are in a small space. Thank God it's a pretty big enough space, but it can be a small space some days where we're just like, oh my gosh, I just need to separate for a minute. I need my time to myself, my thoughts to myself, whatever it may be. So making sure that, and it doesn't have to be all the time, but making sure you have your girl time, your guy time, just away from each other time, but where he'll come in the living room and watch TV, I'll be in the back watching TV or reading or something. So I think it's good. Just time away, fellas time with the fellas, because you don't want to talk to your wife about everything. I ain't gonna say not everything, it sounds bad. Something you talk to the fella, you need fellas time, and you need girl time, and distance makes the heart grow fonder. So you walk in, huh? I was gonna say you don't do it very often either.
No, I don't.
I hang out more with my girls.
Yeah, she does. Brielle hang out a lot more with her girls than I do. But the guys we trying, but anyway, like it's like after a long day, you ain't seen them all day. Like, oh, I missed you. As opposed to right now, it's testing right now, seeing them every day, all day.
I think he got sick like right before all this stuff started happening. It was like
right before,
I think he had been at home for some days, and we had a vision board party planned. I like jetted. I was like, "You good?" I think I was gone from like 12 o'clock.
12 to like 10,
I think I didn't come in till like 8 o'clock that night. So.
I was like, you left me all day. It was like 9, 10.
Yeah, exactly. I will admit I needed a break. I did because I was caring for him too. So it wasn't like he was just sitting here. Like he actually was sick. So I was like, okay, I'm trying to take care of you. I'm trying to still go to work, take care of the apartment, do all that stuff, and it was just like not in a bad way, but it was just weighing on me a little bit. So I was like, oh, I just need to get out and get some fresh air,
She did that.
Yeah.
Go all day.
See, I told you I missed you.
So to finish up, we're gonna talk about one last thing, and that is, I think one of the biggest, next to communication, I think this is the biggest one too, is expectations. I think when you get married, or what you see on TV in weddings, what they portray marriage to be, you expect your spouse to be a certain way. Like, now that you're my wife, you have to do as I say, or now that you're my husband, you need to put me first in your life and all that. So, I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, even if you want to really get into it, I think, what I'm trying to say, even sexual expectations, if we want to be real, you just think like, oh, you my wife, you do everything I ask you to do, But anyway, so
I'm like, no.
So that's probably like the dangerous thing, is just you placing all expectations on your spouse that, and they may be unrealistic. You may think they're realistic in your mind, but if this person, I know who I married, so I can't really expect Brielle to, like change.
It's not like a switch that goes off either. I know there was like a mental switch that both went off for us. Mine went off before his when we first got married. But I think it was more, like you said before in another video, like your protective instincts that went off.
Right.
So he expects to protect me in a way. But then it's also of just like, no, I thought as a couple, you're supposed to take out the trash.
Right.
You're supposed to do all the handiwork around here, and then I'm supposed to cook and clean. And me, I'm like, I'm not doing all that.
Right.
So I think, like we mentioned before, finding that balance too of how we can help each other and stuff, but then also just making sure that that person's not going to be the same way that they were before you got married either.
No,
you know,
people
so,
change. And when you get married, people feel like, right, you're not the same you were when you were 24.
That's when you first met me, so,
and she's not the same person I was when I first met her, and neither am I. So imagine 40 years from now, we're not going to be the same person then. So I think that's the challenging part too. People say marriage is work. Like, as your partner changes, you have to kind of change to, well, I guess, meet their needs, adapt to them. Yeah, because she's not going to be the same person she is now. So you kind of have to change with your spouse. And as you grow, you're going to change too. So that's where I think people say work. It's constant work, you know?
And you know, ladies, sometimes with our hormones, we're all over the place sometimes. So I know it was like a gamble of just like, all right, I think she's this way today, so let's go for it. And then he'd be like, dead wrong. And then other days he'd be like, oh, yes, I got it. Okay, cool. You know? So I think it's just making sure that you can't really have expectations of each other, really.
You said you can?
No, I mean, you can't.
You can. I mean, it's kind of hard to say a few, but it's kind of best not to.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, because when you have expectations, you kind of get disappointed. Like, you're not doing what I want you to do and be my wife, so which leads to breakups and divorce, you know, all that stuff. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think you should like talk those expectations out, because we all have some for sure.
Yeah, we do.
So and we've had like some of those conversations before. I was like, no, I thought you were gonna do this, and he was like, no, I thought you was gonna do this. So then that allows us to dialogue a little bit more. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, we need to talk this out, because clearly we're on two different wavelengths right now. So I think if you talk them out, there is a way, but don't expect all of them to be met.
Yeah.
So is what we're trying to say.
I guess you shouldn't. I guess to sum it up, like, your partner shouldn't be your primary source of happiness.
Yes.
So if they're not doing what you're not doing, you're unhappy, just mad at the world. That shouldn't be your primary source. We all know. Well, one guy should be your primary source. But besides that, just making that person ruling everything in your life, and so they're gonna we're all people. At some point, we're gonna disappoint one each other somewhere down the road. You know, so just kind of watch your expectations that you set for your spouse. You know.
Yeah. That gets a whole nother conversation about
just
like, you know, being upset about certain things, and it's like, you know, who you married, if they weren't doing it before, they really not gonna be doing it now.
Right.
You know, unless they really work at it. But it's just like knowing what you're getting yourself into before you get married. Like I knew who Quincy was as a person before we got married, and you hope he alters his ways just a little bit. But I knew what I was getting myself into for sure. So and vice versa.
We ain't talking about like cheating. Like, he already cheating. Or cheat or whatever. That's different. But you know, just a little day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So to sum everything up, things have been good. In the midst of even in this new season of life, I was like, wow, we just got married, and you know, we were expecting to go out and live life, and then we're like, nope. Lord was like, nope, y'all gonna be in the house together. So I think we're definitely learning more about each other basically during this season. But I would have to say everything has been very good. We're still happy in love. We have our good days and our bad days.
Like everybody,
I think overall marriage life has been good. We're still happy, still thriving, still planning, all that jazz. We appreciate you guys tuning in with us today on this little check-in. We hope to have many more for you later on to come. Probably a year. That's probably the next one, hopefully. Lord willing. Lord willing. Hopefully we're out of quarantine by then. But yeah. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Bye.